are starting a buggy tour here in Praia do Forte, Bahia.
Yeah, it's going to last for 3.5 hours and we're going to try to see a bit of everything. So beaches, preservation areas. Yes, exactly. We're going to get to touch a snake, I'm not sure, but anyway, we're going to get to see it up close. And some animals that live in the area. We're going to get to swim in a river. We're going to get to see all the beaches around here, and we're going to visit a castle. Our first stop was at an apiary where we learned about the local breeds of bees and the types of honey they produce. After our first stop at the preservation area where we saw different types of bees, at least 3 different types of bees, and the special honey that they produce, which they sell for around £60 a litre, we're heading to waterfalls.
Woohoo! Waterfalls! We're gonna take a bath there. This is the river Puzuca, otherwise called Gamboa, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Gamboa, in the local language, the indigenous language that people still use, it means like something like football field, because they would come here and play football when the tide changes, because this river is actually connected to the sea. So the sea comes in, kind of brings the tide up, and the water reaches up to this point later in the day, which will happen later today. And what happens is when the tide's really low, this forms a kind of football field, for them at least. They would come here and play football. Our guides, grandparents and parents would come and do this. And over here there's a mangrove, so this part here is all a mangrove along the river, and this is a fruit called dendé. So this fruit produces the so-called dendé oil, which they use to fry and cook food here in Bahia. This tree is called biriba, and they use it to make an instrument, a musical instrument called birimbau, which they use for capoeira. So if you've ever listened to this instrument that they use while they're practicing capoeira, it comes from this tree here.
We're leaving the Rio Olho Vermelho, and we are ready for our next stop.
Which we don't know which one is going to be just yet.
Take it that you know it.
The next one is going to be amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing.
Well, to be fair, it was a tiny waterfall. I was expecting a lot more from it, and I didn't quite, like the fact that they've explored the place so much that now the water's so little that you can't really, take a bath in the waterfall, which is what we expected initially.
It could be worse.
It could be worse, for sure, yeah. Afterwards, we returned to the conservation area where we saw a snake sleeping, and we learned about how often it changes its skin. And then we saw some other types of animals which can be found locally here.